everybody. Welcome to our 6th episode of Mousecapades. Can y'all believe we are only 2 episodes away from the end of our mini-series? I've been having a blast. My name is Joe. I am the cat in charge on Twitter now that I've officially rebranded everything. I am the cat in charge everywhere, even TikTok. Go follow
Hey,
me.
Nice.
I go by they them pronouns, and I will be your dungeon master, game master, or whatever it is for this evening. And we're gonna go ahead and toss it over to Ari. Would you please introduce yourself?
hi, my name is Ari. I play Joel. I go by he/him pronouns. I'm really cool. You can find me on Twitter at cnemony6. No underscores. No underscores. I do a lot of video game stuff. I'm trying to be a little social activist, but everyone's a social activist today. We're just doing what we can. We're just doing what we can. And you can find me on TikTok at the Frog Prince. I'm also trying to rebrand, but I'm not as successful, so you will have to split your attention and follow Cnemony6 on Twitter and the Frog Prince on TikTok. And yeah, that's me.
All right, Rue, please introduce yourself.
I'm Rue. I use he, him, or they, them pronouns. And you can find me on Twitter as at Ilana Knight 13 and Instagram and anywhere else as just Ilana Knight with no 13 at the end. I do a lot of sewing and I'm like an amateur tabletop writer.
All right, and last but not least, Miranda, please introduce yourself to us.
Hey, I'm Miranda. I play Quorum in Mousecapades. I use she, her pronouns, and Quorum uses he, him pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at mdebenham1, and the same pretty much everywhere else. I am normally being really sarcastic and mad at the world, so if you need more of that, come see me. I'm great. That's me.
All right, and real quick before we start, we are going to throw over to our producer, Nova, who doesn't have a camera, but you're going to hear the voice of God for a second. Don't be alarmed. We've got a little bit of a charity thing that we're doing here on Heroes Without Limits, and Nova has more information about it than I do. So please take it away from me.
Hi there, he's Nova from the off, right out my bedroom, really, where I'm producing this lovely show, and I'm just gonna really quick tell you about the charity that we're currently raising money for, which is the LGBTQ Freedom Fund. The LGBTQ Freedom Fund is a charity organization that provides bailouts for the wrongfully incarcerated, especially with a focus on LGBTQ people, specifically black trans people who are like right at the intersection where they have to deal with so much bullshit. And also, they're also in support of the Black Lives Matters protesters who are currently in the USA out in the streets, still protesting against police violence and against racism. So, if you have anything to give, even just a single dollar would help tremendously. You can donate right here. I just put the link into the chat. And yeah, every little bit helps. And if you would like to know more about the LGBTQ Freedom Fund, you can find info about them right here as soon as I actually pull the link up. And there we go. I just put it in there. They can read everything about their organization, what they do, how they do, and how you can help. So, yeah, just so you're aware of that. And as you can see at the top bar there on our screen, we have already raised over $1,300 for this amazing cause, which I could not be more happy about. So, yeah, just you're doing amazing, and keep it going. And with that, I'm gonna give it back to our lovely cast.
All right, thank you so much, Nova, and thank you so much, everyone out there who donated. Please go out and continue supporting that. It is very important, especially in these times. Speaking of that, this is a campaign about an apocalypse. there is plague involved. There is a lot of danger involved. There is thoughts of a destruction of a civilization involved. If these are not things that you want to experience for the next 3 hours, then please feel free to dip out right now. It's okay. Please take care of your mental health. It is a little bit stressful over here. So, oof. Gotta get all settled, and let's go ahead and get into our recap. Before we start, so last time, the party was woken up by the guard captain Bailey Bluebow rushing down the thoroughfare on the back of a stoat, calling for all the citizens to stay in their homes as the Underdark was attacking. The rest of the mounted guards soon followed, and the party decided to go with them to the middle of the barn. Ayla went to the rotted wood instead to make sure that Aubrey and the kids were safe as they were closest to the danger. During the skirmish in the middle of the barn, the party found that the Underdark army consisted of rats, spiders, snakes, toads, and frogs. After a quick little battle, Coram and Joelle tried to call peace, got a little bit of information from the rat leader Jet about maybe a miscommunication, maybe not, but something about mice in a straw going missing, and the blame being placed on the denizens of the Underdark. Unfortunately, any peace treaty that they tried to come to was very quickly interrupted as the farm cat, Ginger, leapt from the barn loft into the fray, caused a whole bunch of chaos, and luckily, everyone did make it out safely, but there might be one guard person who is missing. By the name of Vera, the party was tasked to go to the slums to see if they could find any information on where she might have gone. There wasn't a whole lot of hope, as they had seen the cat with a bit of blood on its muzzle before disappearing. But they went anyways to go and find out. And upon entering the rotted wood to try to get some information from maybe Ayla, who could have seen something, or Aubrey or any of the urchins over there, they found Aubrey, covered in blood, who then turned to them and said, "This isn't what it looks like. And this is where we're picking up."
Mad suspicious.
It was quite the cliffhanger, which luckily means we can literally just unpause the campaign right now. So yeah, Joel and Coram, you are in the first floor of the safe house. Aubrey is sitting just a couple of inches away from you. And Ayla, you know where you are. You can pop in whenever you'd like.
Aubrey, whose blood is that?
It's okay. It's, first of all, it's not blood.
Okay.
Give me, and you can. She's kind of wiping it from her fur with this wet rag that she has. And she kind of like turns it to you, and you can see that it's not like you're a bit of a folk hero yourself, Coram. You know what like old or dried blood looks like.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like cornstarch and food dye.
Why are you covered in
berries?
Why are you covered in fake blood?
Fake blood.
It's a really long story.
Okay.
Look, with all due respect, I don't know if this is something that I exactly trust you guys enough to share with you yet. It's not just about me, it's the safety of a couple of other people too.
That's fair enough, I guess. It's just, I'm sure you heard there was a battle literally an hour ago, because time is an illusion. An hour ago. And a lot of people were hurt. And we're trying to find one of them. She's called Vera. She's missing. And you're covered in fake blood.
Yeah, good luck with finding her. Hope it goes well for you.
Well, we had reason to believe that something bad had happened to her because we saw what we believed to be blood on the cat's muzzle. But given current information, maybe all the blood that we see is not as incriminating as it looks. Is there any? So there's nothing that you want to tell us, nothing valid, nothing relevant going on here at all?
You want to make a persuasion check, Joelle?
Yep. You know I'm smooth talking. Oh,
Is it a one?
we always gotta get these out of the way early. We always gotta get out of the way early in the day. That is a 5.
Aubrey kind of does whatever, like, the mouse version of the really tight-lipped, like...
Like that. Okay.
She gives you a very tight-lipped smile. I'm sitting on the ground for this session. I'm sorry, I cannot get comfortable. None of the chairs in my house are deciding to work today. Yeah, Aubrey gives you just a very sort of like tight-lipped look. And she goes, yeah, just give me a second, please, to get cleaned up before we finish talking about whatever it is that you're here to talk to me about. If it's about Vera, there's not a whole lot of information that I can give you.
Okay.
I have someone else for you, though. And she turns and kind of starts like making her way towards the ladder. And she goes, if you're still up there, can you please come take my place? You're muted, Rue.
Ayla will come and like hang upside down from the top of the little hole where the ladder's in. Like, oh, all the kids are safe. I promise.
I appreciate it. I'm coming up.
Okay. And she's just gonna hop down.
Yeah, and Ayla hops down onto the ground floor, and Aubrey kind of like has to look over her shoulder and then quickly hauls herself up the ladder as well. You guys can also hear the little pitter-patter footsteps of some of the kids who are upstairs as well.
Are the two of you okay? I heard there was, I was not aware of what was happening, but there was some sort of attack. Are you all right?
Yeah, we're fine, but what is going on with Aubrey?
Aubrey.
I don't know. She wasn't here when I got here and brought the kids back.
Did the kids say anything about what she was doing? Or like, did they seem surprised when she turned up covered in ketchup? Or is this normal?
I mean, I think she just got back.
Okay.
Ayla, you do know none of the kids seemed worried about her disappearance.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they didn't seem worried she wasn't here, just that she wasn't here. So they just told me, but maybe it's something regular.
This is
or she told them about it before she left.
Mad stuff. I gotta say, this is really, really odd.
I mean, I can think of like 2 reasons you might do that and it be a secret. The first one is a scam, right? Like you pretend that you're injured, or you pretend there was an accident and you get someone to give you money or whatever. So maybe it's that. Or
maybe
you're helping someone fake a death. Like
that's
if people
all I
want to
can
escape something.
Too. Like if you want to get someone or something out of somewhere, the easiest way is to die.
Yeah.
But well, we kind of trust Aubrey. She works with kids. She's not going to do anything dangerous. I mean,
I don't doubt she's doing anything evil, but
yeah,
weird.
Still weird. Well, yes. Anyway,
we needed to ask her where Vera's family lived, right? Wait, hang on.
Yeah, that's what we needed to know. We needed to know if we found out where Vera's family lived. Do we have any leads on them? But I guess we'll wait till she comes back. She says she doesn't really have a lot of information on that, but she probably knows where Vera is.
Oh, just to catch you up, Ayla. There was a big battle with the Underdark, but it turns out the Underdark is basically just like rats and spiders. And I gotta say, when you're like tiny, rats and spiders are kind of scary. So
kind of terrifying.
Fair enough.
Just a little.
Yeah, but they're not like they're people. Like
the mouse
like a Shah. Yeah. Like their leader's called Jet, and we tried to talk to him and try and get like him and Bailey to talk to each other. Oh, by the way, there's some history there, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know
Yep.
exactly what it is, but there is something going on.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
very good at that kind of thing, and even I could see it. So
It's a whole Eero
Did they
manga plot. I will tell you that now.
Did they speak Undercommon?
I'm seeing a whole like enemies to lovers situation. Like,
So our new goal is to get them together. Is that what you're saying?
That
yes.
is, yes, that
Fuck
is
the
definitely a huge, and I'm not, Lady Firehair gave me a vision about it. She was like, they need their love rekindled. I was like, yes,
Yeah,
yes, my patron goddess.
I agree.
You're correct.
It
So,
seems
yeah.
the right thing to do.
It's only necessary. Oh, but also,
Yeah, there were other things.
we have to put a bell on the cat,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Ginger,
Oh god.
aka Satan.
Yeah.
And I already used my second most clever means of making sure it didn't kill us. I only have one idea that would be any more effective, and that doesn't involve somebody dying.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be best if you spearheaded that one, because
you're so light on your feet, and you're so good.
I can climb the cat. I would love to climb and ride the cat.
Great. Okay.
That is my
so you
goal.
know, it could swallow you whole, just FYI, but
I mean, so could the lion I climbed earlier.
I was just about to say, I feel like you have some experience with lethal felines, so I think we'll be good. And also, with the three of us, honestly, if we had been more prepared, me and Corum low-key might have been able to take it.
If we hadn't been busy trying to broker a peace for the generations, we could probably have been fine.
I think we could have won, because we had enough. We had and also we have the knowledge of, common people. We know enough about how cats operate and how physics function and things that we might be able to take advantage of as small people to actually win. So in this situation, I don't think it's going to be that hard.
Has there been any
anyway,
more sign?
I think that might be.
Sorry.
I think that might be like a second thing that we got to handle. We'll worry about Vera first.
The second thing is getting Bailey and Jet together. Come on, priorities.
That's the first thing. That's the first thing.
I'm sorry. That's the first thing. The second thing is solving the plague and all of that. The apocalypse.
Yes, yeah. Oh, the plague.
Has there been any? I'm sorry.
It's good there's only 2 episodes left for this romance subplot.
That we're really passionate about. Have there been any other notion of the weird aberration creature? Has it shown? Oh no.
We have reason to believe that the aberration creature was the cat. I forgot we were eavesdropping. We kind of followed, because Bailey was when all that happened. Bailey was not having
Bailey
it, so we
froze and
completely.
She thought that the cat, because the cat it came out of darkness, and the color of its fur, that kind of dark and fire thing that she talked about before, she thought it was the same thing again. But I'm not convinced, because when we checked out that site,
certain it wasn't.
Yeah, when we checked out that site, there was magic. There was summoning magic, and I mean, you can't just summon a cat. You could, but it wouldn't be an aberration.
No, it would be a familiar, yeah?
I guess.
Yeah, if it is that kind of cat, it could just be,
I mean, it looked like a normal cat when we were normal sized.
It wouldn't even be like that. It wouldn't even require any of that if you were to just teleport a cat to you. You wouldn't need anything of that nature.
You would, honestly, all you would need is a small amount of fish, and it would be there.
Yeah, exactly.
No magic required. They must grow catnip somewhere.
A little salami. They deserve it.
All right. So as you guys are having this conversation, and a couple of minutes pass, I'm assuming it's all in just real time. You guys are talking and catching up. As this sort of comes to a close, there is a bit of a creak on the ladder, and Aubrey makes her way back down in a new set of tunic and tunic and breeches and all cleaned, and she's got the rest of the cornstarch and the dye out of her fur. And she sort of brushes herself off and gives the three of you that same sort of deadpan look that she always has as she addresses the room. All right, what do you want?
Do you know where Vera lives, where her family lives?
I think so. I could probably find it. It's not a very big place.
She went missing on the field of battle, and we got asked to try and look for her. Like, there was no body recovered, so we don't exactly know what happened.
Yeah, she's one of Ada's, isn't she?
Yeah.
I figured. She cares about her people more than the rest of them do. That makes a lot of sense. Well, I guess there's no time like the present.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well, right? Bet.
And Aubrey makes her way past the three of you out the door, and before she can kind of get all the way out, there's a little tiny mouse head pokes from the little trap door where the ladder is, and you just see a little, not really one that you've seen before, just a little sort of like gray and white marbled young mouse, and it goes like, "Hey, wait, Aubrey, are you gonna be coming back soon?" And Aubrey turns halfway over her shoulder and she's like, "Yeah, it's just gonna be a few minutes probably. Don't worry about it." And the little mouse is like, "Okay, are they gonna come back soon too?" And Aubrey sort of side eyes the three of you, and she goes, "Yeah, with any luck." And then the tiny mouse is like, "Can you ask them to please bring those cookies again? They were really good."
We'll do our best.
Aubrey, she shrugs and rolls her eyes, but there's just a little bit of a smile to her face.
Mm-hmm.
And she leads you back out of the safe house and into this little corner of the barn where the hidden opening is, and into the actual part of the slums where, you know, the hallway that is a Shaw. The slums, as before, they're not as sort of raised up the wall as everything else is. There's maybe like 3 layers at most, and it's all kind of like shanty buildings, all sort of you know, the cheaper materials. So it's not exactly structurally sound enough to really be raised as many stories as everything else is. And Aubrey makes her way down the thoroughfare, and she sort of looks left and right, trying to remember something, trying to remember like what the layout might have looked like. And she doesn't actually get very far. Excuse me. She doesn't get very far. She doesn't get very close to the other district before she stops in front of one house, and she looks up, and it's one of the highest ones up there. And she sort of cautiously eyes the ropes and pulleys that allow passage to the front porch, and she looks over her shoulder again at the three of you and just sort of gives a nod silently and makes her way up and hoists herself heavily. There's a lot more sort of direct action involved in climbing these, whereas everything else, it's just kind of like, it's a fun little obstacle course. But with here, it's a little bit more like you're actually climbing this rope yourself. And so whoever would like to go first, you can, but all 3 of you do need to make athletics checks to get yourself up here.
Oh no.
Ayla can go first.
Go ahead.
Say athletics or acrobatics?
Whichever one you want.
Cool. I'm much better at one than I am the other.
Same, except not much better. I'm bad at both.
A 16.
16. Yeah, you make it up there just easily enough. You kind of catch up to Aubrey and start to surpass her a little bit, and then sort of hang back down as you don't exactly know where you're going. But she leads you all the way up to the porch with absolutely no problem. Coram and Joel?
I'll go. Oh,
You
okay.
can do it.
I get an 18. I'm good.
18. Nice. Doing much better. This is a lot of physical activity for you, Coram, in these 48 hours.
It is. It's been a long day and a half.
Joel, that doesn't look
Got
like
a 3.
You got a 3.
Well,
I'm gonna
Joelle.
die from fall damage. I'm never gonna get hurt in combat.
Oh.
It's okay.
Oh
you
my
actually don't take any fall damage because you get up to the rope and you just kind of pull it to begin to like put your body weight on it, and the place where it's kind of attached onto it just snaps and the whole rope just kind of collapses at your feet.
oh.
Just standing there like.
Well, I guess we're not going back down ever.
There's a couple of different passageways. You can find a different way down, and Joelle, please roll another athletics or acrobatics check as you try to find a new way.
Can I do survival
Can I-
to try to?
Can
do survival?
I
to try
crawl
to
back
find
down
one
and
that
help him?
You can, yes.
Okay.
I am old and weak. Please help me.
I'm going to clamber back down and help him. Should I roll again?
Joelle can roll with advantage.
Cool.
I'm going. Can I do survival first to try to find one that's like not sucky?
You already have advantage, so
Okay, so we should be
Yeah.
good. Come on. Oh my god!
Oh no.
No!
I got a 1, and
and
then I got a 14.
Oh.
okay.
So we're good. I was like, if I get 2 1s again,
Get them out of the way early.
remember day
Get the
2
low
I got
rolls
2
out of the
1s.
way early.
I was like, if I get 2 1s again, I am literally leaving. Okay, wait, that was acrobatics, so that's a 15. I think that passed.
All right. You definitely do
Oh my
need Ayla's
God.
help. You rely on them very heavily, making your way up to this house. Aubrey waiting impatiently on the porch for you with Corum. Just absolute dead silence. Just probably one of the most awkward silences you've been a part of, Corum.
Not saying
So
something.
sorry, Corum.
There's like very distant, like sad carnival music as you watch. It's
Great.
coming from somewhere. So Aubrey turns and she knocks on the door, and it sounds actually it kind of sounds hollow enough to where you suspect the house might be completely empty. There is a certain sort of feeling that houses have when they've been abandoned for a while, and this sort of strikes you in the same way. And almost sort of proving the point, Aubrey knocks and then waits barely a second and then just kind of pushes the door, not even bothering with the knob, and it very slowly creaks open.
You sure this is the right place, Aubrey? It doesn't look like anyone lives here.
This is the right place.
Okay.
And she goes ahead inside into the foyer. It's not very big. It's 2 rooms, and they're separated by a single door. The area that you walk into here seems to be more of like a communal space. There's a little kitchenette just kind of against one wall, couch against a different wall. There's a window with sort of ratty coverings, and there is a fine layer of dust and cobwebs kind of around everything, but not entirely abandoned. There are tracks in the dust. There are some cobwebs that have been pushed aside, but for the most part, it's been a while since anyone's actually lived here. And Aubrey continues forward through the door into the next room, which looks to be more of a living quarters. You can see a desk and a bed. And she kind of just stands off by the wall and kind of lets you explore. There is that same air of she knows something that you don't, and it's what's the correct word for this? She's more intent on being there while you find it rather than showing you exactly where it is, but this is the place to find it, if that makes sense.
Okay. I guess, can I look for any like moving panels or anything? Like, I'm thinking maybe this place goes through to another place with like a secret wall or something.
Yeah, you can make an investigation check.
I'm not very good at that, but we'll try.
Yeah, we're stupid out here. Team dumb.
We real thick.
Yeah.
That's
but
not
that
bad.
charisma, though.
That charisma.
That charisma.
We can't find anyone to talk to, but when we do,
When we do.
By God, they'll be flattered.
And I can climb the
Broker of
wall.
peace treaty.
I get a 14 on finding
Okay, cool.
things.
Cool. Okay. Okay. So you, Quorum, make your way around, and you have hooves, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, is a wooden floor, so there's a bit of a soft echo, and the wood panels creak very heavily beneath your hooves. And as you begin to make your way sort of into the bedroom, the desk, which is directly next to the door, you sort of step on this one panel directly sort of under and a little bit behind the chair in front of the desk, and it gives way a little bit more than it really should. And then there's a little bit of a click as well. And without the sort of dead awkward silence, you probably wouldn't have been able to hear it. But there is
You're
there's
welcome.
there's quite a bit of intent and focus right now. It's like a classroom where everyone's taking a test. It's just kind of like very uncannily quiet in here. So you hear it. And the floorboard clicks beneath your foot.
I look at Aubrey to see how she reacts.
She kind of gives you a little bit of a nod. Just one.
Okay. I'm like, guys, I think there's something here. Look. Listen.
Click. I love the visual of you two shuffling over closer to your camera.
You said it's next to a desk, or it's behind the chair that's in front of the desk?
It is there's the desk, which is sort of in the corner, and then there's the chair, and it's under the chair that is pushed into the desk.
Can we have a look at the floorboard? Like, is it a trapdoor or a hidden panel or something?
It is you can look at the floorboard, and there's no checks or whatever. You just glance down at it, and it looks less like a trap door and more like a hidden panel. Like, you think that it's sort of button-like, where you can press it down and then it pops up so that you can remove it.
Okay, let's look.
Okay,
try to do that.
You pull it out. On the inside, you find a little box, very recently placed here. There is no real sign of age to it at all, as well as the floorboard panel that you have pulled out. It has also been recently moved around as well. So you can tell that it's had more interaction than really the rest of the house has. And the box is simple. It's kind of like a very tiny just shoebox. It's a simple lid that just kind of like pulls off. There's no latch or lever to it or anything. And it's kind of a bit of a papery, kind of like a cardboard material. You open it up. On the inside, there are what looks like dozens of handwritten letters. Some of them have little tiny flowers sort of pressed into them. And then you also see a couple of very small, what look like trinkets, maybe pieces of jewelry. You see some old brooches. You see what looks like a necklace. You see maybe a ring.
Do they all look like they're in the same handwriting or different?
There are two distinct handwritings with these letters.
It's the Bailey and Jet archive, folks.
We found it.
We found it. The archive.
I don't know if Aubrey, I don't think I should read these. These are someone else's letters.
Well, I'm going to be taking them anyways, so if you want some information about Vera, I imagine that you get it where you can.
I guess. Okay.
Sure.
Do they
Are any of them open already? There's something.
They're not like envelopes or anything. They are flat sheets of paper that have been like folded, and they have fold lines on them. But
Right.
Let's
There's
just
a
read this
sacrosanct
person's
nature to a
personal
closed
life.
envelope, you know. I'm not trying to go and anything about that, but if it's there, I mean, my eyes happen to fall on it. I mean,
if you
it
happen
is
to
indeed already open in there. And
get them out
Joel, Joel, you sort of peer in over
Like,
Quorum's shoulder to look at this top sheet of paper here as Quorum is sort of like looking towards Aubrey for confirmation. And Joel, there is, by God, I'm not going to recite every single one of these, but the gist that you get of reading just the top sheet. It is addressed to Adelaide, and the letter essentially says that whoever the writer is has reached their wits' end. There is a plan that needs to be set in motion, and that tonight is the night that they should escape, and that a Shaw is not the place for them anymore. And it is signed with a V.
Aubrey,
I see.
did you help
Hold
Vera?
on, I'm a. Yeah. You got it. Keep going.
Did you help Vera escape? Is that what happened in the battle? Like she wanted to get away from something bad happening?
It's not something bad happening at all. She's not escaping. She was just going towards something better.
Sure. I mean, we know a Shaw's not exactly perfect.
There is now sort of a very smug smirk to Aubrey. She seems a little showmanshipy almost. Like she is kind of proud of both you and herself.
Maybe you could tell us? It seems like you must be the mastermind of all this.
I'm only the mastermind of the things that I do. I don't have any power in a Shaw itself, but I'm sure you know by now that there's not a lot of people who like it here, and there's not a lot of people who think that it's as nice and sweet and as idyllic as the council would like you to believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
I've been helping mice escape to the Underdark for seasons now by faking their own death.
You know, you've almost started a war with that. Bailey was fighting Jet because of the missing mice.
Yeah, that wasn't my intention, but I can't really do anything to stop it. And
okay.
I feel like regardless, they would have started butting heads anyways.
Maybe true.
If they could get to such a level without communicating already, then anything probably would have set that kind of conflict off. That's pretty fair. Yeah. Although that's still pretty messed up, that deception. But that's a completely different conversation, and we won't get into that one.
The people, it's pretty drastic to fake your death. Are people afraid to leave? Like, could they not just go by themselves?
There's a little bit of a bad reputation that comes with abandoning the barn.
Yeah.
No one speaks ill of the dead.
True. Well, most people haven't met Joelle.
True.
Okay.
So is the missing mice the only reason we're at war with the Underdark?
I mean, there's
basically.
There's the whole, competition for resources thing, but it's what they talked about, both of them. Like, Jet felt that the Underdark were being blamed and that they had to defend themselves. And Bailey believed that the Underdark was stealing people away, out of their beds at night, kind of thing. And that was why Bailey was so eager to attack them. It's definitely the major.
Yeah, at its core, that's what the problem is. Yeah. So,
Aubrey, do you think any of the mice who have gone would be willing to write a letter or something to tell Bailey that they left of their own accord? They weren't kidnapped or killed?
I could ask. I don't guarantee they're gonna say yes.
It might help, especially if any of them are like Vera. Like, surely she wouldn't want her, like, comrades to die in a battle needlessly.
I didn't get the chance to talk to her a whole lot. She knows what I do. She came and asked me for a favor, and I delivered.
Do you know what had upset her so much? Had she seen something or heard something in particular?
I don't think that she was upset at all. I think that her and her good friend wanted a new place to start.
Her friend?
Her friend, she says, putting up air quotes.
Her ancient history friend lived in the same house, and they have the same interests, and we're just really, really tight friends.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that kind of friend.
Did her friend also leave a shop of the same means, or did she meet her elsewhere?
She left Ashaw a couple of seasons ago. The long distance thing wasn't really working out.
It's like that when you're friends for life who live together and maybe sleep in the same bed together and are just friends.
It is like that sometimes. Okay, well, we have to. This is a lot. This is a lot to go from.
Not to run you around in circles or anything, but you understand that I can't always say everything out loud for y'all.
Yeah, we know.
Of course.
Thanks for helping us.
Of course.
Yeah.
We can't ask for anything more.
I wondered, last time we talked about Dawn, and we've tried our best to figure out what is going on with her, but something seems fishy, but we can't catch her doing anything wrong. No one will speak ill of her. It's hard to know what to do next. Unless you had an idea, Ayla.
I mean, I think our previous plan of watching and waiting for her is going to be rather difficult with a battle going on and everyone on high alert. So I don't think that will quite work. There is the hope that she will stay, or like people will encourage her to stay inside because there is a battle going on. But if she's managed to make the potion of invisibility, it doesn't really matter what people are encouraging her to do.
Right. Honestly, we have one day to finish brokering our 32nd peace treaty. And while, honestly, if it weren't for that, I would advocate us just basically continuing to stalk her to the best of our abilities. Because as far as I can perceive, I don't see who else would be able to orchestrate this many things, and it's not a coincidence, clearly.
Yeah.
So that's what I would have done. But considering this, and considering that there are mice who have voluntarily, I think it might be best for us to investigate the Underdark ourselves and try to talk to Jet and see if we can do something from the other side, at least at this point, because we just don't have the time or the resources to do anything else at the end of the day.
Or even if we could...
Sorry, you can go ahead.
Or even if we could just go over there and talk to Vera even. Like...
Yeah.
It might help.
Even if the reason that they left could give us insight on the reasons that they left, their personal reasons for leaving could give us insight on the things that we need to find out about Ashaw and grant, what comes with that.
Aubrey turns her whole attention towards you, Joelle, and she goes, how much time do you need, and what is it that you want to focus on? Because Jet and I already have a connection, and Bailey and I go way back. If you need more time to stall on this whole peace treaty thing to go and investigate Dawn a little bit more, I'll work something out for you.
Okay. Well, in that case, if we have resources, then we need to make this a little bit more of a sting than just a stakeout. And there's that cat to worry about stopping us from leaving.
Well,
Okay. We have to bell the cat. We have to find out what are the connections that we have to Dawn and what's going on.
We know that she wanted to be Matamayo's apprentice, and Matamayo chose what is his name?
Reed.
Reed instead, because he was older and she felt he was more ready, and that she was very upset about that and sabotaged his ability to do magic and probably changed out the book, or at the very least edited the book. Not that we have that book or the evidence of it, because
Matamayo destroyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, if we believe that I'm sorry, keep going.
And we think we know that she's using her own prophecies to gain power in Ashar. We think that's what's happening.
So if she was involved in Reed's incident, and Bailey thinks that the cat was the same creature, I think belling the cat will take at most an hour, honestly, considering our combined skills. So doing that to at the very least see if there is any connection between the cat and what we've understood might be helpful, and also so that we can move around without being scared of the cat. So that might be the first thing we want to do, which would honestly only take today. Since we have this lead on Vera, that would probably also only be within one day. Watching Dawn, if we wanted to create that situation where we could find her, maybe we can set up some kind of, construct some kind of magical alarm system. There has to be something we can do. There has to be some way we can create, make and pull some more.
Make cookies.
Yes.
As far as I can tell, the only way that we are able to have currency, like real currency in this world, is by giving people baked goods.
Yeah,
so we should acquire more baked goods.
That's how it's been thus far. But yeah, because I think it would be nice perhaps to see if there's anything in Don's house that could have evidence to the poisoning of the water source and also of the people in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if she has a journal of sorts, or some sort of physical
evil scheme book.
Right. Maybe if she scries or does some other physical form of fortune telling, there might be something that we can use to triangulate how she knows what's going on, because the war seems almost like it was prophesied, because it was actually completely distinct from her and anything that she was doing, and was
unless she's aware of things, unless she knows a little bit about what's happening with the mice.
Would she be? He asked
Aubrey.
I literally said every single mouse's name in my head. Would she? No?
Can you repeat the question just so I know exactly what Aubrey's being asked? What would she know about? Are you asking?
Ayla said, unless Dawn somehow knew what was going on with the mice who were trying to leave and like
Okay.
what their intentions were. And then I said, would Dawn know about that?
Well, most of the council already knows that I have a little bit of something to do with the Underdark, which is a big reason of why they don't exactly trust me. I know Dawn pretty well, but I don't think that she knows me well enough to be any sort of suspicious about that kind of thing.
Maybe she really did actually foresee that. She could use some kind of deductive reasoning to just pin blame on somebody along with a tiny bit of magic. Well, I guess that's something we'd be able to find out if we can get any information on how she divines information and what she has access to at her house.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, let's go handle that.
A bell on a cat.
And hopefully simultaneously retrieve my meteor hammer. That would be
That was
fantastic.
The single greatest casualty of that whole experience.
And honestly, at this point, it might actually be the single greatest casualty.
That's literally the single greatest
Now that we know that Vera's not dead, there's only one casualty.
Just one.
Only one casualty. So now Joelle feels good about not being shallow earlier. But
Okay.
yeah, but the emphasis is the cat, and we'll see if we can do that. So that we don't have to think on our feet when we're there. If we have the opportunity, Coram and Ayla, actually, you both need to know. If we do get the chance, I will cast light on my claymore and throw it in the air and try to entice the cat to grab it and blow itself up. If
Just
it comes
so
to
you
that,
know,
that's
Ayla,
what
this
we're
is
gonna
how
do.
we lost
This is how we lost the hammer.
Yeah.
Oh.
If I had enough time before, I would have put the claymore inside of the sensor and then done that. So when it pounced on it, it blew up. But we had like 0.04 seconds, and Bailey was having a panic attack, and we were trying to make sure that nobody died. So now that we coordinated, that's what we're gonna do.
All right.
We have the opportunity. So I guess we'll get on that. Thank you again, Aubrey.
Thank you, Aubrey.
Anytime.
We stand Aubrey.
Okay. Who do we need to get the bell from? Did someone have a
Madame
bell for
Mayo.
us?
Madameo.
Okay.
We have the whole room of bells.
Oh yeah, and Ayla, we had to
Yeah.
say last time that Madameo was keeping something back about the book, like something that he didn't want to say, but we never really figured out what it was.
Yeah, we never figured it out. We could ask again, or
Maybe.
we could.
He
Well,
won't say anything.
didn't Reed say that anyone's welcome to look at his library of magic books?
Yeah, I checked out the stuff earlier.
Okay.
Most of the information that was connected to Reed's books, and well, not Reed's books, the spells that Reed was trying to perform, and nothing was out of the ordinary. And of course, Reed didn't tell us anything, so we're kind of at square one with that one.
Then
All right.
yeah, I suppose.
Y'all are heading to the clock tower?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we gonna bounce.
You guys exit the slums. You say goodbye to Aubrey as you part ways going in your different directions. Aubrey makes it a point to remind you to return at some time with cookies for the kids who you promised them. And as you go back over to Madameo's little library / residence, he actually meets you at the door this time. He's got his little red jacket on. He looks like he was pretty much just on his way out. And you see he's got a very, very large, actually just a little bit smaller than him. It's like he's holding a comically oversized beach ball, except it's like a brass jingle bell. And he seems to be struggling a little bit with it. He's sort of awkwardly like leaning on his little staff and taking like one sort of like hobbling step, and then sort of shifting the weight to make sure that the bell is not falling to the ground. And you can see behind them like Daisy is there, and she's got her little horn sort of tucked underneath it, supporting it so that he doesn't drop it on the ground. And Madameo looks up at the three of you as you approach, and his little pink eyes get all bright, and he's like, "Oh, wonderful to see you again. I was just going to find you."
Corum like walks straight past and goes to pet Daisy. Priorities.
Hello.
Instantly.
Daisy moves her head from supporting the bell to lean into your hand for scritches, and it just kind of like ding, 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 hits the ground and starts rolling very slowly.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay, how's Daisy?
She's a very good cow. Oh yes, she is. Oh yes.
You stand, Daisy.
She's doing just fine in the library. She seems to be having some trouble with the stairs.
She's doing just fine in the library. Can she
She's
read
a librarian.
now? I mean, I always knew she was a special cow, but I didn't know she was literate.
I may have made an attempt to teach her how to read. It didn't work very well. However, she thinks that books are very tasty.
Oh. Sorry about that.
And that's on nonfiction.
Nothing that I can't replace. It's fine. I forgot Madameo's voice for a second. Excuse me. Yeah, nothing that we can't replace. This is fine.
Okay.
Well, glad to see you are all doing well after the terrors of this morning. Ayla, good to see you are safe also.
Yes.
I am assuming that you are here for the bell.
Yes, we're going to put it on the cat.
Well,
I think very specifically, I'm going to put it on the cat.
From what I hear, you do seem to have the most dexterity for it, so I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else.
Thank you.
Can we have like a smaller, less valuable bell as well to potentially use as a distraction should we need to in the worst case scenario?
Oh, sure. And he kind of like just reaches in his robe and pulls out like a little normal sized cowbell.
There we go.
Hands it to whoever. Yes.
This is what I want to see.
Why do you have so many bells?
Well,
can't just ask a man why he has a large collection of bells, Ayla.
It's interesting.
There's not much of a story behind it, unfortunately. I just, I like shiny things very much.
Oh, fair enough.
That's valid. Our whole economy, where we're from, is built around people liking shiny things. So that is very valid.
Yes, I've read about your little pieces made out of gold. It seems very interesting and very expensive to keep up with.
Yes,
Yeah.
and also very counterintuitive because you can't carry as many pieces as you would want to carry to buy things that it justifies having as many pieces as you would need to buy said things. It is a very self-defeating system.
You have to have lots. You have to have lots of pieces so that you can buy a bag big enough to carry all the other pieces that you need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a much simpler system that we use down here.
Please to take notes.
Well, there's a cat, I assume, waiting for us. I was going to perhaps attempt to maybe freeze or in some other way perhaps try to debuff it while you were making your attempts.
That would be
wonderful.
Great.
That would be great.
We have very limited areas of expertise and rely on very, very, very gimmicky things. So that would be great.
Well, I hear that you are good at stabbing things, which is
Oh, that's them. That's
yeah, we're goat men and the stabby people.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. That's the phrase I heard.
Yep.
I'm goatee and they're the stabby people. Also, Daisy is one of the stabby people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Joelle, you're the talky people. I don't think I count as the
I'm the
talky
talky.
people.
Well, even with your shortcomings, I like you all very much. This way.
Aw.
Oof.
And he goes ahead and walks towards the entrance to Ashaw, that little soup can entrance through the hay bale. He does leave the giant bell behind, and he is just holding the little cowbell in his hands, the one that is kind of proportional to his size. But the big jingle bell is still kind of like it just sort of stopped rolling.
We'll have to drag it.
A couple
I'll
of
start
inches
dragging
away.
it.
Okay.
Could,
Yeah.
could two of us hold it together, or is it a one-person job?
You could hold it together.
I feel like none of us are particularly strong.
Yeah.
I'm not.
No.
That's okay. I won't make you roll strength or anything. It's just imagine that 45 long minutes go by as you drew it. It's 8 a.m. now.
It is now 8 a.m. as we slog this bell through the abyss.
Mm-hmm. Right, and you do make your way back into the middle of the barn. The hay bale behind you, the expanse of the building that contains a shaw, as well as wherever that entrance to the Underdark is. Up above you, as usual, the loft to the old dilapidated barn is empty. And taking a sort of peering glance around, you can't really see much hide nor hair of the cat, but of course you do not know what lurks in the shadows of the loft floor. The remnants of the battle are still kind of there. It hasn't been cleaned up at all. There's still a very large sort of splotch of just red from where you had seen the cat pounce on earlier. And now that you're sort of with the new information that you've accrued, you can kind of see it in a little bit of a different light, especially after the time that's passed. It's definitely not blood.
Mm.
Right.
Well, time to tempt the cat out.
All right.
Okay, I think we should spread out so that
Mhm.
we can, if we have to distract it, we can all take turns making distractions. We can all do that, right? I can make light.
I can make light.
I can make it be on fire.
I
can make it be on
cast.
fire.
I can cast dancing lights or fairy fire.
Yeah, fairy fire and dance light. Okay.
I have
Okay, we
regular
have
fire.
something.
Shall some of us be on the upper floor and some of us on the lower?
Maybe you should
Madam
go up,
Mayo.
Ayla.
Yeah.
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 Then I can just sort of hop to the cat as opposed to climbing the
Yeah.
cat, maybe.
I'll stay on the ground because while you're doing this, I would also like to go snatch that meteor hammer. And if we need to make any distractions, I want to be as close to it as I can, or as visible to it as possible, so I can try to make it move around in the right direction. And I guess Coram, you want to be on the ground with me, and Ayla
Yeah.
can communicate with us telepathically, and we
Yeah.
all have a little network. Okay, I think we should
Cool.
be fine.
Or just,
So wait.
scream if you're
Or
being
yell,
eaten.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. But I mean, before.
Yeah.
I don't wanna... Can you talk to the cat? Can you say things to the cat?
I can say things to the cat.
Yeah,
I don't know.
if it shares a language, it can understand, but
Yeah.
I don't know that it speaks
Common.
As long as you
anything.
can, I think you could disorient the mess out of it if you just
True.
yell at its brain. At any moment.
I could yell
if we
like
need to.
dog, 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 dog
Yeah.
at the cat.
Something. So wait, so when we're in a shaw, we're in a wall. When we come out of the soup can, we're inside of the center of the barn, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
And it's like generic barn, big open space with the upper loft area and rafters going up the sides.
Exactly.
Okay.
Big old
So when we
concrete
come
floor
out-
covered in dirt and hay.
Okay. When we come out, I'm going to go to the... First of all, I'm going to gird my loins. I'm not tripping today. I'll go to the far side of the entrance, like as far away from the entrance as I can get and still be in range of Quorum's telepathy. That's where I'll be positioned.
Okay.
So if I need to distract it, it'll go away from the entrance to a shop.
I will try and spread out like the opposite direction so that ideally we end up making like a triangle shape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matameo
I'm
will be
going
like
up.
on the rafters directly above the entrance,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so that should anything happen, he could
He
leave
can run
just
for
as
it.
easily.
Yeah.
And then Ayla, you'll be with Matamea, but you can disengage whenever, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it safe to like? You can't just jump straight down. So how?
But to
Will
jump
you-
onto the cat, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
From the rafters? The rafters aren't the rafters like maybe like 10 of our feet in the air?
True.
They're
yeah,
they're
that's
full,
like death.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they're
like-
10 human feet, which is too far for small people to fall, probably.
That's death distance. That is.
Could
So-
you be like on top of a hay bale or something? Like
Yeah,
something
Maybe
smaller?
you could,
instead, yeah.
there
Matameo
any?
actually perks up a little bit, and he turns towards you, Ayla, and he's like, well, have you perhaps tried flying before?
I have never tried flying. I have done a trapeze, but I've never tried actually flying.
Would you like to try actually flying?
I would love to try actually flying.
Very well. You will have 10 minutes, so use them wisely, please. And he
Perfect.
sort of takes the little metal wrought staff that he has and waves it a couple of times, and then he taps Ayla very gently on the head with it. And Ayla, you feel weightless, and you sort of hover a couple of centimeters off the ground as the fly spell is cast on you.
The first
Wow.
thing Ayla does is begin to do like acrobatics tricks, like they do a couple of like backflips and somersaults, but in midair. Very excited.
Too much.
Okay, well, now I can
Power.
just fly onto the cat, I think.
Cool.
So you can cast fly independently and then concentrate a spell on the cat to slow
Yes.
it. Are you going to freeze it?
I have a slowing ability, yes. I was going to try to slow it down.
Okay. At the very least, Quorum and I can just throw fireballs at it. So.
Yeah. And like I can teleport like a couple of times, so if we need to, I can lure it after me.
Sweet, all the way to you. That sounds like a fantastic idea. Okay.
Yeah,
Um.
if we need to.
So
Very
if we
well.
have to, Ayla, you cast Fairy Fire on Quorum
Yeah.
because that's the most immediately distracting. Pull the cat towards you. Quorum,
Mhm.
you teleport,
Mhm.
be as distracting as possible,
Mhm.
and then try to make an escape.
Mhm.
I'll try to ring the bell, draw its attention, cast light, throw the bell. We're out.
Mhm.
If it comes down to we can't just have it be frozen, bell it, and then get out, that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if worse comes to worse, I'll blow up its mouth. But I don't think we'll have to do that.
Okay.
Let's hope not.
I don't think that'll be necessary.
What do you think
Okay.
the farmer thinks is happening when there's like small grenades going off in the barn? Like,
You know how when you're
maybe
in
they
your house
think
and you
the
just hear, like,
cat
random
has like a
creaking?
smoking habit.
This barn's abandoned for a reason.
This one just no. Oh, wait. Where are we? Are we there now, or are we talking about it now?
You can still be talking about it. You can be in position if you would like.
Mhm.
Okay, I want to find where my sensor is. I don't.
Okay.
Is it in the middle of the ground? Can I remember if it was in the middle of the ground when the cat tossed it away?
Yeah, it was. You were on like the ground level of the barn, and the cat kind of like batted it, and then you lost sight as you turned in the other direction. But if you'd like, you can make a perception check to do like a cursory glance around to look for it.
Okay.
In
I'm
the
going to do that.
meantime, whoever is holding the bell, Matameo pulls out a length of ribbon and hands it to you. to use as like a necklace.
Yep. Ayla's got it.
I got a 6.
A 6 on your perception.
I don't remember anything. Yes. Ugh. I just woke up.
It's okay. Joel, you can't really glimpse any of the shiny metal anywhere in the barn. You realize after a couple of seconds that you are facing the wrong direction.
LOL. Okay.
Rip.
Well, when we get out there, can I try to smell it with survival? Or would that
What?
also be perception?
Can you
Because
try
it
to
has the
smell it?
incense in it. Yeah, the incense in it.
Oh my god, you're right.
I'm just a dog.
I forgot it was a sensor. I was like, okay.
I was imagining like in Red Dead when the protagonist just kind of like phases out of existence and he can follow smell trails of things.
Yeah.
Yes, that's me. That is me, yes.
Oh,
that is
man.
actually me in real life, actually, though. I'm really good at that.
Projects.
I can astral project smells. But anyway, when we get out there, I'm going to try to do that before we get the cat on our trail and see if I can get it.
Okay, let's see, because if you're wanting to use survival, one thing that you can do, you mentioned it a couple of times, so I'm assuming that you're really good at survival.
I know, I'm thinking, like, I don't know if this is applicable. Each time, I'm like, I feel like that's like camping stuff. That's like awareness stuff. Right?
What you can do is look for the cat's footprints in the dirt of the barn. So you can maybe, because it was batting around like a toy, so you might be able to find it that way, and you also might be able to straight up just find the cat wherever it is.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. But honestly, Ayla is probably going to be better at that, not only flying, but being higher up. And I don't know if you have better perception, but you can fly, so you can kind of just look.
On a scale of 1 to, I don't know what, I have, if I was rolling something, perhaps, I would get 4 added to my mythological dice roll.
Okay. Theoretically, I think that in that case, compared to my hypothetical potential additional 3 in this context, I don't know.
Theory.
The spirits are really telling me a 3 right now.
Yeah.
I think that that would be, and you can fly. I think you would be the better person to do that. So I will devote my mental attention to finding dust patterns, dust trails of where the sensor went, and trying to see if the cat footprints are leading towards the sensor once we start the little mission. So whenever we're ready.
All right. I'm
all right.
Ready.
All right.
We all ready?
Yeah.
All right, everyone gets into their positions. Joel and Coram are on the ground floor of the barn. Ayla, I assume you have flown up to the rafters. Madameo also has briefly cast Fly on himself in order to get to the rafters a little bit expeditedly. You don't imagine that he would have much luck trying to climb the ladder at his size. So Joel, if you would like to kick off with rolling your survival.
Come on. Oh my gosh. Everything
just lie so next time. Just lie to me. This hurts more.
7. I'm just waiting because like I keep doing this. You've seen it. It'll be like garbage roll, trash roll, doo-doo, butt roll, 20, 18, 20, 17, 17, 20. I'm like, okay, let's get there, please.
There's no middle ground.
There's no middle. My luck is just terrible. Joel's luck stat is literally like so iffy.
Joel, with a 7, there sure are a lot of cat prints going around. You can tell that. You notice one that you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely a cat print, and then you suddenly notice that like, oh dear God, they're actually everywhere. And this cat probably walks around a whole lot more than anyone inside the walls would maybe be comfortable with knowing.
Tragic.
You don't exactly get a read on where it is at the current moment. You also, unfortunately, cannot seem to find your meteor hammer. But you know that the cat's probably here. If anywhere else, you actually assume that it probably would live in the loft, rather than like sort of going in and out of the ranch. It kind of spends all of its time here.
Okay.
Mhm.
Can I look for the cat?
You can. You would like to roll perception?
Yeah.
Mhm.
17.
All right. You with the 17, you are also closer to the loft here, Ayla, since you are in the rafters. With the 17, you can spot there is a little sort of blur of a very, very dark orange that catches the corner of your eye. And it's still a bit away from you. And it's actually not so much that it's in motion like it's running, but it's more like you kind of caught it as it's mid rolling over from its side onto its back and stretching all of its little legs out. And then it relaxes again, and you see that Ginger the farm cat is fast asleep in the loft of the barn on a little pile of hay and some folded up old blankets.
I'm going to tell that telepathically. I'm going to say, the cat's asleep. Up on the loft, it's asleep.
Worm's like,
Okay. Since we have time, can I nat 20 and like really, really look for the hammer? Like really look
You
for
can
it
make an
because I'm devoting time
investigation.
to it?
You can make an investigation check, and I'll give you advantage.
We're doing that again. There we go. Yes.
What was the number?
19.
19.
Finally.
It is.
There it is.
It is. You catch the smallest glimpse of brass reflecting light. It is in the furthest corner away from you, covered under so much dust, as cat fur caught in all of the chinks of metal.
Ew. Can I get Quorum's attention visibly?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I do that and then like
I message you like, what's up? The cat's
The
asleep
sensor
up
is-
there.
like the sensor is really far. I think it's out of your range. I'm gonna run and be right back.
Okay.
Like boom, like book it, like I am not trying to die. So I'm gonna do that.
I will forward this information to Ayla. Like,
All right.
Joel's gone after the sensor. Question mark.
Oh, good.
Just stay quiet.
Should I try to put the bell on while it's asleep, or should we wake it up and draw it to the middle?
If you try while it's asleep, I don't know why I'm whispering this to telepathy.
Yeah, we're not actually being quiet.
It's 11:30 at night. Please bear with.
I'm sorry.
Telepathy whisper.
We have to whisper in our brains.
Yes, or it'll hear you. You're in its brain.
I think we should get it down here because if something goes wrong up there, none of us can get to you.
That's true. That's fair.
Ooh, see if you can cast. So if it well actually I don't know this out of character. Is it easier to cast something like Fairy Fire or like some kind of dexterity saving throw requiring spell on something when it's not conscious?
Actually, let me check that because I think so.
Like, would that wake it up or would it be more effective on it? Because if you can like paralyze it and then just go do it, now might be the time to just like take advantage of it.
There's like a certain condition where you actually like automatically fail dex saves, but I don't know if it's about like spells.
Oh, it might be when you fall down.
You're prone.
It might be when you get knocked down when you're prone. Yeah. I don't remember.
Because I forget if sleeping is like a condition.
Yeah, if it's considered a state.
It's a
Unconscious
condition when
voluntary.
I'm sleeping.
If a creature
Right.
is unconscious, it automatically fails strength and dexterity saving throws. I wonder if that would also include dexterity spell saving throws. Attack rolls
Maybe?
against it also have advantage. You know what?
I think giving it disadvantage would be like.
Nova
I
says
think-
save is a save.
A save is a save is a save.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's. I guess we're gonna go with what Roll20
Hold
says
up
over
on it.
there. Yeah, it'll save.
Boom.
It'll automatically fail a dexterity saving throw. It's asleep.
Cool.
But you might want to, Ayla, you might still want to be flying above the ground, above the,
Yeah.
like the, so that if it does wake up and like fight back, it will be drawn off of the lock instantly.
Yeah. So, Ayla's going to turn to Madame Is the, out of character because I don't know, is haste / slow a dex save?
I'm pretty sure.
It's a
Oh
wisdom
wait,
save.
is it on?
Oh, okay.
It's a wisdom save.
So I can cast Fairy
Oh.
Fire, and it won't, it'll auto fail, but it won't auto fail the slow. So I could light it up, but not
Yeah,
stop
do
it
that
from
so
moving.
we can see it and be more capable of avoiding it and attacking it
Perfect.
Mhm.
after if it wakes up, hypothetically, because we don't want to wake it up if we don't have to.
Ideally, it will not wake up, but yes.
Yeah,
All right.
I think
So
we
what's
got
the plan?
this. We got this.
I think Ayla's going to fly over to it and from above cast Fairy Fire, so it lights up like a shimmery turquoise.
Okay.
And then I'm going to, from above the cat, attempt to place the bell around its neck.
Mad Mayo with the slow or the freeze or whichever as well.
You wanna signal him to cast slow?
Yeah.
All right. Makes a little wave of his staff that he has, and there is another bit of a arcane shimmer that falls over the sleeping cat. Ayla, as you approach, will you please make a stealth check?
Yep.
With advantage, because the cat is sleeping, and also I'm assuming that you're not touching the ground because you have fly.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a natural 20 plus 5, 25.
Hell
Nice.
yeah.
My other roll was a 3.
You actually became invisible.
Oh, gee. So yeah, you creep up to the cat. There is absolutely no sound whatsoever. You are just fly on the wall, pretty much. As you go to tie the bell around its neck, will you please make a sleight of hand?
Yep.
Come on, I believe in you.
14?
Did you roll with advantage?
Oh, no.
I forgot to mention that, I think.
19.
19.
Yes.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you slip the little ribbon around just kind of like right above where its collar is. You tie it in a neat little bow or like a knot to make sure that it doesn't come loose. And do you use the larger jingle bell or do you use the little cowbell?
The larger jingle bell.
Okay. And there's not the sound of like it actually jingling, but like the little rattler inside of it. You can sort of hear it just kind of roll across the inside of the bell's surface as it settles into place. And you sort of move back slightly as you finished up your handiwork and you watch, and the cat, still glowing, just sort of rolls onto its other side. And there is a little faint jingle of the bell that you have now placed around its neck very securely. Congratulations, you have
work.
belled the cat.
Yay!
Yes! I will fly back and into messaging range and message Cora and be like, I got the bell on the cat. I think we can go.
Nice. No, we can't, because Joel's still getting the fucking hammer.
Right, I
Am I
forgot
back yet?
he's getting the sensor.
Am I- How
Joel,
long was it? Am I back yet?
you have received your meteor hammer back, Joel.
Thank
You can
God.
put that in your inventory.
He's lost in the
It's-
haystack.
It's gone.
It's the scene from Monty Python where the drums are rolling and they're far in the distance and they're running. And it keeps coming back to it, but it's Joelle running across the barn.
Literally. Yes. With the hammer.
Okay, then let's go.
Real quick,
Let's
Ayla,
bounce. Oh my gosh.
apologies. Ayla, I do want to mention something that you notice up in the loft as you are leaving. This little area that the cat is sleeping in is sort of closer to the front of the barn, so there's a little window with a small little sill where a little bit of this morning sunlight is shining in. And Ayla, as you are making your way out, you notice it's mostly abandoned up here. However, there is seemingly new, and only because it hasn't really dried up. It looks like there is a very small relative to you when you were full sized. It's pretty big for you shrunken down now. It looks like there's kind of like a puddle of, it's not water, it's too dark and it's a little too viscous to be water. But as you are heading away, you notice that the fairy fire is reflecting pretty heavily in it as you make your way out. And you just sort of catch that in the morning sun.
Right.
Is it something I would have a second to look at, or not really?
If you want to take a second to look at it, you can.
Okay, I will go and make perception or investigation.
Perception if you just want to glance at it. Investigation if you want to kind of like get in there and really see.
I want to see if it's the same like corn syrup sticky goo stuff that Aubrey was covered in.
Okay.
Investigation is a 13.
A 13. Okay. You get a little bit closer, and it's not exactly inspecting the liquid that you identify what it is, but you spot there is a overturned lamp on a hay bale.
That's
sort of next to
no
this
good.
window.
That's dangerous.
That's very bad.
There is a small puddle of lamp oil here, and the bale of hay, which the turned over lamp is resting on, is halfway burned.
Oh.
Is it burning?
Fire.
Not currently.
Is fire one of the predicted signs?
It looks like at some point this lamp knocked over and a small fire started and has since been extinguished.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wait, maybe where is the oil? Did the oil drip down? Hold on. Wait.
Yeah, because is it leaking into the water?
Yeah, is it leaking into any place? Or is it just went straight into the hay?
You're not there.
I'm not there.
Yeah, I assume I can't see that. I guess I could go underneath, like, because it's in the loft, right? That the oil is knocked over.
Mm-hmm.
Could I, from there, fly down and see if it like drips down onto the floor?
Yeah, you fly under. You can have a pretty good estimate of where it is. You don't see any sign of dripping or anything.
Okay.
But it means that someone was up here, knocked over the lamp by mistake, and then fixed it, right? Because
the lamp is still overturned. The bale is kind of, it's one of the square ones. It just kind of seems to have been used as like an end table or something, in the way that it was supporting the oil lamp. Yeah, the oil lamp is knocked over. The remaining oil that didn't light is sort of on the floor of the loft, and part of this hay bale, which the lamp is still laying on, knocked over, is burned. Easily the most flammable thing up here. There's a little bit of just soot on the walls, but the walls didn't catch. It probably wasn't that intense of a fire, or someone put it out before it got the chance to get that bad.
I will forward all of this information to Coram and Joelle and see if they have anything else they'd like me to look at before I head back.
Maybe that's what happened when Bailey was first attacked by the cat. She said it was fire and darkness. Maybe the cat somehow got lit on fire from getting in the oil. But that doesn't explain the
spell casting.
The spell casting. The spell casting is the problem. That's the thing. But it could be that the spell casting and the cat were actually just coincidental.
Possible.
And then they were associated with each other, you know, correlation, causation, all that.
Can you look out of the window? Like, and what can you see out of the window?
Yeah, I will head over to the window and look out. What is the view outside the window?
Also, be vigilant for the cat.
Yeah.
Don't be too focused.
Listen for jingle bells.
I am listening.
I am.
God, I wish that was me. Imagine being able to listen.
I can't actually. In real life, I can't.
In real life, I can halfway listen. This is a funny deaf joke. Anyways.
You have half.
Yeah. Same mood,
so,
Joe. Same mood.
You look out the window and you see the rolling fields of Abershaw Acres, and in the distance you see the ranch house in which the family lives.
Is it, like, would I know, or could I make a check to know if it's in the same direction as the, like, battlefield that Bailey fought the monster on?
You can, well, let's see. I'll say you can either like roll history to try to remember, or you can try to lean out the window a little bit to look down.
Lean out the window.
Oh God.
Okay.
I'm
You
flying.
still fly.
It's fine. They can fly. They can fly.
You're flying, but still like the stress.
Yeah, I will like head out the window a little bit to see if I can see the battlefield.
Yeah, you lean out the window, and it is right there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'll forward that to them. Yeah, the burn patch is right there. So it is a possibility that the cat caught fire and jumped out the window. I don't know who would have put out the fire though.
Yeah.
Unless someone came up here, started the fire, shot the cat out the window,
light the cat on fire,
and then put the fire out.
Child.
Can you imagine?
The Abershaw family has a psychopathic child who's actually not a psychopath. They were just really curious, and then they put it out after because they felt bad, and now they're fine.
It's also entirely possible with how the oil of the lamp will sort of burn before like the kindling will. The fire could have extinguished on its own.
Okay.
If it was just left alone for long enough.
So what we're saying? There was a lantern up here. It fell over.
It fell on the cat.
Set the cat on.
And then the cat jumped out the window and
it went on a rampage. At the same time,
it was on fire.
At the same time as an arcane magical malfunction that kickstarted the apocalypse.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a reach.
I don't know.
I think it's perfect.
About right. I think it's perfect. I think we know what to tell Matameo.
Someone we have news for Matameo. Yes, someone lit the cat on fire.
Can you look for, or I asked Coram to ask
No,
Ayla
Coram is losing his shit.
Coram is losing his shit.
Coram cannot deal with this.
I mean, this is the answer.
The news that someone lit the cat on fire is
we solved it. Held on. Like, we solved the riddle. Like,
I think I literally smudged my mascara laughing.
I have written in my notes,
man.
Someone lit the cat on fire and threw it out a window.
Threw it out a window.
I love that this is the treasure map that you guys have followed.
That's all we've got.
This is it.
We're
though.
not
This is it.
a party of smart folk.
We're
No,
not.
we are wise, which means we can make inferences.
We're not wise.
Yeah.
We're not. All right, we have no connection. There is no logic.
We've connected nothing.
We have connected dots that may or may not exist.
I've connected
We
the
made
two
our own
dots.
dots, god damn it.
There are dots.
We've
didn't
fabricated
connect
some
The
dots.
picture is pretty. The picture is pretty, and that's what matters.
We're
Someone
coloring
gave
out.
us a like dot to dot and we've just drawn our own thing.
There's a picture. There's a picture
And
on
the
top of
picture
it.
is the cat on fire.
Oh God. We are the
I
oldest
think-
civilization making stories out of constellations.
I think since we are at our halfway point now, this is an excellent
This is the
time to
time
take
for
a
a
break.
Oh, this is too much. This is
Oh,
too much. I'm
man.
actually hot now.
I can't breathe.
All right.
Sorry, it
We
made you
will-
cry, Miranda.
Oh, I'm crying too. Oh man, we will see you guys in.
That's it, guys. We solved
That's
it.
it. Bye.
That's it.
Bye.
We've solved all the problems.
They
Oh,
actually
the
solved it,
problem.
so I don't need to narrate anymore. The campaign just ends here.
Roll credit.
And the credits, by the way, is like it's the names going down the page, and then in the background, just like images from the Bailey and Jet fanfic
Yeah!
that we've all
That I'm
written.
gonna write when we're done with this.
We'll see you guys in 15 minutes. No, but take
Oh
us
my
off.
God.
Set the crowd
I'm
free.
gonna pass out.
back, everybody, to our episode 6 of Mousecapades. We've got Rue, we've got Ari, we've got Miranda, and we've got me, Joe, your GM for this evening. We've got 1 hour left, so let's get right to it. Last time before our break, we belled the cat. And was the cat set on fire? Who knows? Who knows?
Yes.
We're not
The
going to think
answer is
about that
yes.
right now because we have to make words.
So, with a little bit of a jump here, our intrepid heroes have made a quick pit stop back to Zeta Busy Bees in order to get that breakfast that they were promised. And then going back to Madameo's clock tower. It's indeterminate time. It's just whatever time that is most convenient for us. But we have gathered back in Madameo's clock tower in the library. We've got the whole squad. We've got Daisy is also here. And I believe that you guys may have had some questions for him. Whoever wants, don't all jump at once.
Well, I guess we heard there was a council meeting this morning. Are you going to be talking about the battle?
Well, Bailey, I believe, is probably going to be doing most of that herself. I was going to want to bring up something about perhaps the food situation that we have going on, as well as some of the potentially inclement weather that Dawn and I have been observing.
Oh, okay. Does it last long, the council meeting? How soon will you be back?
Oh, not typically very long at all. It can be perhaps 1, maybe 2 hours. We have a scheduled start time, and we end whenever we run out of things to talk about.
Okay. Anyone else?
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Very well.
Okay.
Well, I'm on my way. Should be heading out pretty soon here. I'll be on my way. I imagine as the future heroes of Ashaw, you would be welcome to join me, but if you have things that you would like to take care of yourself, that's also understandable.
Oh, I have to milk my cow. And they're helping me.
Yeah, we gotta help. Yeah.
It's a 3-person job.
Mm-hmm.
We're not
Very well.
entirely sure.
People,
We're
there's
very
one missing udder.
we're new at milking cows. It's a learning curve.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine it will be a wonderful learning experience for everyone. Best of luck.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, till next time. And he just sort of very slowly just heads out.
The crazy people.
He doesn't know anything about. He
as
doesn't
he's-
know enough about cows to dispute whatever you're saying.
As he's leaving, I'm like, kind of quickly, so that if we decide yes, someone can go with him. Do we want one of us to go with Madameo and listen in on the meeting, while the other two go and snoop around? There might be something that we could get out of that.
Yeah, it might be nice to know what they talk about in the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably best at breaking into things.
Agreed. And I'm probably worse at breaking into things. So I go to the meeting and y'all snoop around. Also, y'all can talk telepathically. So if you have to, you can yell at me from
Okay.
there without anyone else hearing anything.
Okay. You go catch up with Matameo then?
All right. Yep. So I'm going to go run up with Matameo and be like, actually, I think I will sit in for a little bit, reacquaint with the girlies.
Your internet cut out a little bit there, Ari.
No,
Oh no, I think he's frozen.
Oh no.
we've lost him.
Okay. But luckily
F.
that was the way we split the party. So
It sure was. So
Yeah.
whatever Matameo had to say in reply doesn't matter. We're going to Corum and Ayla.
Are you back, Ari?
Oh.
I don't know.
I'll give
I
Hey.
hope so.
Oh,
I hope so. My internet has been going in waves recently, so we're just gonna
You
pretend I
seem
said something
alright now.
charming and witty.
All right. Are Corm and Ayla going to stay behind until Madameo and Joel are out of sight?
Yeah. And like
Okay.
maybe wait until like 10 minutes after the meeting is meant to start. Just safe time.
Okay. Yeah, Joel, you, Madameo will lead you up to not the very, very top floor of the cello case, but one of the rooms, one of the smaller rooms, sort of like in the neck part of it. And you quickly find, is the most boring idle conversationalist that you think you've ever met in your life. Back at the Theater of Joy, there's quite a lot of just like old crones who will talk about literally whatever because no one has ever stopped them before. This is exactly how Madameo is operating.
Joel goes under his shroud and puts on his ear pods, and it's just like, yep, and just like not like, yep, totally, and just listening to like Ariana or something. It's like
fantasy Ariana Grande.
fantasy Ariana, fantasy Nicki Minaj, and it's just like, yep, yep, totally. Yep.
Right, Coram and Ayla.
Yep.
Okay, so the way up to the teapot is through the council building, right? Or is it like a...
Yes.
Okay.
You take the stairs all the way up, which means that there will be a moment where you can sort of like hear, but there is a door between you and the council members.
Okay. Can we take a moment when that happens to just see if we can hear Dawn's voice?
Sure.
Like, hopefully she is attending the meeting. Gonna be real awkward otherwise.
Whoever would like to can make a perception check as you make your little pit stop on the stairs to check.
You want to do it, Rue?
Yeah, I can do it. Let's see. That is a 16 plus 4 for a dirty 20.
Heck yeah.
Hey.
You do indeed hear Dawn's voice. You hear her quietly discussing, along with Madameo, the fact that she has seen rain clouds maybe rolling in fairly soon. They mentioned that the citizens, which have recently begun to be carefully spoon-fed information about the portents and have taken up the past day with fortifying the walls with wax to make sure that if it does rain, that it keeps it dry on the inside, potentially avoiding the portent of flood, which everyone seemed to be a little bit worried about. So yeah, that is what you hear Dawn discussing. And Joel, of course, you're also here.
Now, Joel still has his AirPods in. Joel is still vibing at the meeting.
He's zoning, which is absolutely fine because no one really like addresses you for your opinion or anything.
Literally just sitting here.
Yep.
I'm playing Angry Birds.
Yeah, Ayla will just make a thumbs up at Cora. I'm like, yeah, Dawn is there, so we can continue.
Let's go sneaking then.
All right. You make your way through the little rope course of the tea saucers and the little cups up to the top of the teapot, which is, there's no lock mechanism or anything. You can just sort of creak open the lid on its hinges and you can see the dark for once, since there is nobody home. There's no lights on the inside. However, I think both of you have dark vision, so
yeah.
Yep, you are absolutely fine with this. It's just a little bit more gray instead, as dark vision doesn't really give you all of the colors that you are used to seeing from Dawn's little abode here. All of the jewel tones, the blues and the purples and the reds are just muted to a couple of still very fancy shades of gray. But you two are now inside the teapot. What would you like to look for, if anything?
I want to look behind her curtain. Like when we were here before, she went behind a curtain to make tea, I think. And we never saw what was behind there. So that's probably where I'd start.
I want to look through it, and then I want to see if she has like a bookshelf of some kind, where like perhaps she might have like maybe not a journal of evil schemes, but some sort of like daily planner.
I wonder if she might have a copy of the spell book that Sabotage read or something like that.
All right, if both of you will please make investigation checks for me.
Mhm. 11.
14.
All right. Corum, what you find as you pull this curtain behind, there is a small little tea trolley here. The top layer of it has the actual tea set. There are two sort of bottom um, shelves underneath it, which seem to have different tea ingredients. There is a mortar and pestle. There's a couple of bags of pre-ground leaves, and then the bottom one has what looks to be the whole leaves, which are either dried or in the process of drying. So there's a little tea making kit over here. You also see that the spout begins here, and there's a little incense set up where essentially there is kind of like a string and pulley type thing, so that the incense can actually be brought up to the very top of the teapot. So therefore, it spills out both on the other side as well as in here. Which most of the time, when you've been in here, there has been a very thin layer of incense smoke on the ground, kind of like someone turned on a fog machine. But there is no incense burning currently. And the pulley mechanism is at the base, so you can see the little block of incense that she uses and the little matchsticks next to it that is used to light. There is a little shelving area where you see a couple of more of them organized into their own boxes, listed with things like patchouli and sage and sandalwood and typical incense scents. Most notably, what you see behind the curtain here is a pedestal with what looks like a little bit too flat to be a bowl, but still too curved to be a plate. Just kind of this dish of completely still water. The pedestal itself also seems to have a couple of drawers inside of it, and the drawers don't really have any rhyme or reason to them. They're kind of scattered just all over the pedestal on all sides of it. I don't know if any of you have ever seen like Mirror Mask with the scene like at the very, very end where she has all of the keys and stuff. It's an old movie reference, but oh well, it was worth a shot. Yeah, it's kind of this metal plated pedestal with all of these different size drawers just kind of put wherever. None of them seeming to be locked.
Can I try and look in the water? Like, is it a scrying dish or something? Can I?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't scry, but I'll have a look.
No, you do know enough about magic that you can tell that this is a scrying operation here. Currently, the water is blank. You can just kind of see barely your own reflection, but it has enough of a tinge of like darkness to the water that yeah, you recognize what a scrying implement looks like. This is that. The way that it reflects you confirms that as well.
Okay. Can I try the drawers? I just want to try them very gently, like see if any of them are unlocked.
Okay. Yeah, you can. The first one that you try, it gives, it's unlocked. The second one that you try is the same.
Okay. Then I'll have a look through them, I guess.
All right. Most of the ones that you look through, there seem to be smaller bits of herbs and other plants here. Some of them most of them actually look to be alchemical ingredients. And also, some of the drawers you find have tiny little pieces of paper rolled up, kind of just literally like fortune cookie sized slips of paper, and they are written each with one line just right in the middle of it in a language that you don't recognize.
Huh. Okay. Like handwritten? Okay. Ayla, do you read this? Can you read this?
I will walk over and see. Do I recognize the language?
What languages do you know?
I speak English, English, Common, Elvish, and Undercommon.
No, you do not recognize any of these languages.
Sorry, I didn't speak them either.
Can I take a copy of one of them? Like, try and trace it, I guess?
Sure. What would you roll for that? If you just want to throw a skill at me.
Sleight of hand?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not even particularly good at that. Why did I say that one? Whatever.
Do you want me to do it with sleight of hand?
That's a 14.
Sounds good. Also, Quorum, since you're a sorcerer and you're a magic teacher and everything, I can also give you this, and you can keep the same roll. There is a sort of energy to this that is similar to a spell scroll. You don't think that you could cast from this, but it has a very similar, like, arcane vibe. The reason that you can't understand this language is because it is arcane glyphs that are not your own.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to copy it and use your Arcana modifier instead of your sleight of hand modifier, and keep the...
It's then a 15.
Then a 15. You do slightly better at tracing it. You give yourself a little pat on the back. You think you've done a good job.
Is there any sign in this area of the invisibility potion?
Well, Ayla, as you were looking around the bookshelves, what did you roll in your investigation check?
I rolled a 17.
Okay. So there is 2 bookshelves, skinny ones lining one on either wall, where the sort of rope ladder descends into. And most of them are filled with little potted plants, but there are a couple of books and scrolls. And one of the plants that you recognize is, one of the pots that you recognize is the one that Dawn had showed that she had put the Jesus Christ, the little plant sample that you had gotten from the sigil. You notice that, and then also very close to it, you notice the jar that held the 2 flowers, the phantom flowers for the invisibility potions. That jar is empty.
Is the pot with the plant trimmings also empty or no?
No, and it has actually grown a little bit more. You were already sort of aware that Dawn had, like, a way with plants and making them grow faster. She had mentioned to you that she was trying to expedite the regrowth process of this. So, depending on how you feel about your confidence of your nature skills, you think that you might be able to identify what this is now. It's sort of started to bud a little bit more. There's a full root system now. It has, like, one little leaf and one little flower kind of growing.
Okay, yeah, I'm willing to try.
All right, if you would like to roll nature.
14, 15, 16.
16.
Nice.
Let me check my notes real quick. Okay. Do you go to investigate this? You see small, sort of little lavender buds that haven't quite yet bloomed. The little leaves, the 2 little leaves that have kind of started to sprout from this, you notice are kind of heart-shaped and have, like, a faint sort of, like, mint smell to them. Ayla, this is catnip.
Oh!
It is the cat.
Ayla, like, puts their hands to their mouth to stop themselves from laughing out loud as they realize it, and they message Coram with the telepathic link, and they say, Coram, the plant we found that we thought was a magical element of some kind is catnip.
Coram just, like, holds his breath and walks to the spout of the teapot and, like, shoves his face into it to laugh out of the tea spout so that no one hears. Just for a minute. Okay.
Well,
but this is so it's proof, though, that it was intentional, right?
Yeah,
like someone tried
lured.
to. Yeah, I mean, maybe the bit about being on fire wasn't intentional, but having the cat be there was intentional.
Yeah, because they must have lured it to the place. I wonder then if it was summoned at all, or if the summoning just didn't work, and so they grabbed a cat. Sorry, Miranda.
While I'm taking a drink. Maybe yes. I mean, you try and summon an abyssal demon, doesn't work, and you grab the catnip. That's how it goes. Sometimes it just be like that.
It is like that sometimes.
If you can't produce your own demon store-bought, it's fine.
That is
People
why
don't think
they
it'd be
sell,
like it be, but it do.
But
what
it
it
do.
do. They sell catnip for a reason. If you need to weaponize a cat, it's there.
That's how you do it.
And that is what they apparently wanted, to weaponize a cat. Great. Okay. Okay.
Cool. I'm glad.
Great.
You have found the scrying dish, you have found the missing invisibility flowers, and you have found the catnip. Is there anything else that you guys would like to continue to search for?
Our sanity.
I want to see if she has anything in here that could be used to like mess with the water supply in some way. So something
Okay.
something like a contaminant of some kind.
Wait, what is the next upcoming disaster? Is it flood?
The flood.
Okay. Or like anything about, I don't know enough about magic to know if this exists, but like some way that she could summon a storm or something, like to make it seem natural. Could she make it rain for days or something?
If you guys would like, you can both make an Arcana check to look around and see sort of the more magical purposes of the stuff that's in here that you've already sort of looked at.
12.
That's not bad. 18.
Okay. And I have to look through my notes once more, so give me a moment.
It's just like, why does my lip taste salty? It's because I cried with laughter.
Sorry.
Good times.
Oh my gosh, am I not going to be able to find it? I don't want to stall for too long. I feel so bad.
It's okay.
I can't wait till I type these notes into the Google Doc and you all have to read them.
I can't wait to watch this VOD back and like this chaos occurring.
This is the VOD. This is the VOD.
Yeah.
I've drawn this little cat.
Oh, you drew a tiny on fire cat. Oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, yeah, okay. What a time. Wow.
Set the cat on fire and lure it out with some catnip, I guess.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, literally, apparently.
Ooh, I think I found it. Okay, cool. So you guys are looking around for more magical stuff, and the first thing that you stumble across, who got the higher roll?
Me.
Quorum. And this makes sense because you're actually close to this. On the tea trolley, you began sort of looking through some of the ingredients of the teas as you're trying to find any more hints to complete your little mission here. As you begin looking on the bottom shelf for the tea ingredients, you find a small jar of something that isn't leaves, but it looks kind of like it could be like a clear crystal, kind of like salt.
Okay.
And upon sort of looking at it a little bit more, because it seems to have a tint that's a bit too white rather than clear to be salt, and it just kind of catches your eye, and it seems extremely familiar to you. and you can't get it for just a second, but one more time you think about it with a little bit less of a magic brain and more so of a practical application. You realize the stuff that is in this jar is strychnine.
Oh, well, that's not good. How big a dose? Like enough to not take out a person or a town?
It's like a a mason jar, kind of halfway full of it.
That's a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And for those of you who in the audience aren't fully aware of what strychnine is, it is a type of mouse poison. It is a very effective type of mouse poison.
It kills people too, right?
Yeah,
in bigger
it kills people
doses.
too.
Yeah.
In bigger doses, it can, but it is usually used for small rodents, like tiny birds and mice.
That's okay. That's pretty incriminating.
Yeah, that's not something you should have in your house as a mouse. If you are a mouse, I don't. It would be the equivalent of me keeping like a jar of arsenic just lying around in my pocket.
Yeah.
It's not a good idea.
How much does it look like salt? Like, how similar does it look to salt?
Just enough to not be suspicious at a cursory glance.
Okay. But if you actually looked at it, it's clear that it's not salt.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that it does really look like? I don't know what rat poison looks like in real life. So does it look like flour, or like, could I swap it out for something else?
Oh, you think that you could, if you found some like salt or sugar, you think that you could swap it out?
And Dawn probably wouldn't notice. Okay.
She'd probably notice.
Notice eventually.
Yeah, but she might not be like, someone's been in my house and swapped out my rat poison.
She might not notice right away. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there sugar on the tea cart?
Yeah.
There is sugar.
Is there enough sugar to fill, to like, if I empty out the strychnine into my pocket and and refill it with sugar or salt or both? Is there enough?
I'm going to say yes.
Great, that's what I'm doing then.
Yeah, there's enough alchemical components here that you can find plenty of salt. You can find a little storage area where she keeps the rest of her sugar, and you can pour the strychnine into your coat pocket or wherever you'd like to put it.
Like pour poison into it.
Do we have a jar of some kind?
I'm sure. No, I think we have jars.
I have all the jars.
Oh,
yeah.
I have like bags. I'm an adventurer though. I have like bags and pouches and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Ayla, you also can find, since you rolled pretty well, too, the little dish with the pedestal, one of the sort of topmost drawers on it. You find a single sheet of paper that seems to be very well taken care of, and it looks kind of like a chart corresponding to what components will change what the water shows. And one of them that catches your eye, because it has been written in the newest ink, it has the word target written on it.
Oh, good. That's a nice word.
It corresponds to cinnamon and then a small list of glyphs.
Okay.
Well, she's been watching someone or something labeled target. I assume it says it needs cinnamon, and then there's these symbols we can't read again. I assume you'd have to read that spell out loud.
Dawn is the cop that started the fires at the protest. Big brain.
Big brain.
We've solved many more issues here.
While putting, like you have to speak the glyphs while putting the cinnamon in. I can't imagine if I just throw some cinnamon in, it will work.
You could try.
I guess I could try. I'm just worried that if it doesn't work, there'll just be cinnamon in her water.
Yeah. Okay.
It would theoretically. Don't know how to go about that.
Yeah, me either.
Don't know enough about magic to know what will happen if I try to do it and it fails.
Mm.
Do the glyphs that are written down match any of the pieces of paper?
Within the drawers.
Yeah.
If you search long enough, you find one that matches. You also notice that all of the lists, the things that, like the correspondence, it is one, like, general ingredient, and then is a list of glyphs.
Okay.
But you find the one that corresponds specifically to the one written target.
It can't be as easy as putting this in the water too, can it?
Maybe. Wizards are real stupid. Like, who knows? You know,
That's
they have
so
to learn
bad.
from books. I don't really get it. Magic just kind of happens. They have to read it. Very
You
confusing.
have to read.
Yeah, no one wants that. I mean, I do. I'm a teacher. I want that. Reading's great.
Don't worry, I won't tell your students you said no reading.
It's midnight for clarity, and I'm losing my mind. So,
Yeah, I can try. Do you want me to try putting
yeah,
the
do
cinnamon?
it. Why not? Yeah.
Do you want to? Because you're a little better at magic, or do you want me to do it?
Yeah, I'll do it. Why not? Sure. I'll put the
We love and
water
support
in.
you.
Cora was just like, this can't get any weirder, so sure. And puts the paper and cinnamon into the scrying bowl.
All right.
And
So you
praise, basically.
a little pinch of cinnamon goes into the water, dissolves completely and immediately. You take the little piece of paper, you throw it in there as well. The surface of the water starts to ripple and shimmer.
Ella, you were right.
The paper floating on top of it slowly turns transparent. You can still sort of see it, but the paper is invisible so that you can see through it. And the picture starts to come into view. You see a very plain little black room, black walls, a black ceiling, soft wood floor. You see a couple of mice figures standing around a table. You're unable to hear what they are saying, although it does seem as though they are talking. You can see a little white mouse wearing red robes and a sort of floppy red hat. You can see a golden furred Rex mouse wearing purple clothes and a little hat shaped like a crown.
It's the council.
You can see the zebra mouse, Bailey Bluebell, in her armor. You can see Dawn herself in her cornflower blue robes with the butterfly wings. And you can also see Father Ansel in his white and his purple robes.
Does the scrying seem to focus on any of them or follow them as they move?
It kind of drifts back and forth naturally and kind of moves and settles as though someone is actively holding a camera that you are looking through.
So maybe it's all of them. The whole council?
Maybe.
Rather
Do you
than-
know who
You
else
do not.
is? Yeah.
No.
Do we know who else is in the room that we can't see?
You
Joelle?
know that Joelle is supposed to be there.
I wonder if Joelle is the camera.
Like it's focusing through Joelle?
Yeah, like we're seeing through Joelle's eyes. Are we close enough to telepathy to Joelle from here?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
So I'm going to telepathy to Joelle. Hey Joelle, could you do me a very weird favor? Could you slowly look around the room at each person?
Okay. And Joel starts with, I don't know how the people are oriented, but he'll go in an order with like starting from whoever's on one end to the other end.
Okay. You watch Corum and Ayla as the center of the image shifts over and it focuses on Madameo, Bailey, Rex, Dawn,
What?
Ansel.
Oh. Thank
So-
you, Joelle.
You got it.
What?
So she's seeing through Joelle's eyes and she can do it at any time.
How did this happen? I
mean,
don't
if
know how
she-
scrying works.
I think you have to have something of the person. So if she like took
I
something,
mean, the jar, the invisibility
jar.
things, if nothing
Yeah.
else.
And if not, hair or something also works.
It would be easy enough to do.
Yeah. That means
Huh.
that she's seen, well,
Everything.
theoretically, she could have seen everywhere we've been.
Yeah. Okay. But she's not just focusing on Joelle and us because she has all of the other bits of paper as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully she hasn't seen literally everything. But I mean, it would explain how she's always one step ahead of us.
Yeah, because she always knows where we are and what we're doing.
But she must have missed this. She wouldn't have left everything here for us to find. So
Well, we can't hear. So she would have seen that we were planning something but not heard it.
oh, interesting. That's a good point. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I wonder, is there anything else on that list that looks like we should look at it? Because now we know this is how the scrying works.
Well, there are 2 words. And then everything else in that first column looks to be a list of dates.
Hmm. Okay. Like past dates.
Mhm.
Do they correspond with any of the like big events, like the monster attack or anything?
Not since you've been here.
Okay.
The most recent one is from about 6 months ago.
How long ago did Reed's axe incident happen?
You were told 2 seasons.
Not far off.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it could be like she kept like a like I also don't know how scrying works. Could you look at the past? Like if you wanted to rewatch an event, could you rewatch it?
I don't know. Maybe. Rewatch memories, you think?
Maybe.
Corum, you've heard of this kind of magic before.
Mm.
Most diviners, especially ones who scry with like this specific sort of dish of water in the pedestal, they will typically keep a way to look at past memories as well, so they can sort of scry on themselves in the past.
Okay. And were
as
the
well
dates
as seeing things in the future.
Were the dates written on bits of paper, like Joelle's name?
Mhm.
Were the date okay?
Mhm.
If we finish with looking at the council, is the paper reusable, or have we used up that writing?
When you stop focusing on looking into the water, and when you kind of glance back at it, it has gone back to the sort of dark, shimmery surface, and the paper is floating in the middle of it. No longer transparent, just a wet strip of paper.
So we could, but the writing is gone.
It's still there.
Okay.
It's a little reusable tag.
That's really cool.
That's amazing. If it weren't treason, it would be really interesting.
Yeah, if it wasn't creepy, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Do we want to, like, I don't know enough about the dates to know what's important, but do we want to maybe try, like, the one that's the most recent and see what it is?
Yeah.
From in the, never mind. I'll say that for later. Actually, no. The meeting is boring, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If there were like a decently loud noise, would they be able to hear me from in there, or would they have to be outside?
They meaning Corum and Ayla?
Orm and Ayla.
You probably think that you would have to go outside the council room, maybe to the top of the cello case.
Okay. I asked to be excused for just a second from the meeting.
Okay. Maybe like one person glances at you as you scoot out of your chair and leave.
Kind of try to be unassuming because I'm not really the focus here. And then when I go outside, I try to go as far away from the actual level as I can and ring the little crappy bell that Madameo got me, like moderately loudly. Not too loud. I don't want them to be alerted, but like loud enough where Quorum and Ayla should be able to hear.
I message you. Hey, you in trouble?
Say, what was that you needed me to look around for?
Hot news. Dawn's really trying to murder people with rat poison. Also hot news, she can see through your eyes. So maybe we should... Wait, don't you wear a blindfold already?
He wears a veil.
It's mostly
maybe we should
transparent.
upgrade you to a blindfold.
No! That's not the worst idea!
You just got upgraded to your veil like 3 days ago.
Oh my god, that was literally 3 days ago. I'm having a breakdown. Okay. Joel feels his privacy invaded. He's mad AF that she used his jar that he asked for a favor to commit war crimes.
Don't you hate it when...
Don't you just say? And I'll also be like, we're about to like watch her memories because apparently it's like tit for tat on invading people's privacy. So if you want to come watch with us, now's the time.
I think I'm gonna stay at the meeting in case they leave so that I can alert you if Dawn comes back at an awkward time. However, if she's using any kind of magic to look through my eyes or anyone's eyes, maybe like just make one mark on it in an inconspicuous place so that she can't use it anymore, but she doesn't know how. So why? Like she might not be able to see why afterwards, just so we can kind of slow her roll, because this is a huge drag. I don't know. Did you mess with anything? Because if you didn't touch anything, we might be able to use that to our advantage and lead her down the wrong path, or make her think that we're doing something that she's not. That we're not.
I think we could do that, and I also think if we can make it out of here without her realizing we were here, this is a huge amount of evidence that we know where it is. Like, if we brought the council here and were like, hey, look, there's a jar full of poison and a scrying basin and question mark, then...
if we brought them immediately, though,
okay.
So she doesn't have time to put it away.
Do you want to do that, like, now?
Oh, it's a risk. I think we should look at least one of the memories.
I think we're going to watch the memory first.
Because, like, if we look and it's just, like, reruns of her favorite soap, then we're going to be real embarrassed.
Well, I'll let you know when the meeting convenes by doing this again, so that if you take longer than the meeting does, we can kind of just work as fast as possible. But try not to mess with anything so that it can't look like you planted it, because that's, kind of possible. I trust y'all. So I'm going to go back, even though this meeting is mad, crazy, dumb, stupid, ridiculous, boring. I'll catch y'all.
I'm so sorry.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
Thank you for your sacrifices, Joel.
Hard. And in the meeting, he's just spending time kicking out cat hairs from the sensor. That's like the whole thing he's doing during the meeting, throwing them in the back, just like, okay, returns to meeting, and it's like, I know y'all missed me. No one's literally no one.
All right.
Okay,
to pick
so the most recent one?
Because it might be something to do with Reed. All right. What do we need to do that one?
Yeah, what's the ingredient?
Clove.
Cool. Presumably there's some clove around.
There is. All of the ingredients are, you can find them in the drawers if you want to go down the list. It's a little unorganized, but Each drawer only contains like one thing. They're pretty tiny even for how small you are at the current moment.
Cool. Okay.
All right.
Then we do it.
You find your clove, you find your slip of paper that corresponds, you drop it into the dish, and it starts sort of vibrating again. And it shimmers a little in a different way. Instead of sort of a metallic sort of mercury that then faded to Joel's vision, there is a bubbling light within the dish now, and it pulls upward into now more of a large bubble that you are looking into. And unlike the previous one, you aren't looking through a specific person's eyes, but it's kind of like a over-the-shoulder camera, which is centered on Dawn. You recognize very easily. You also can see the other members of the council, and you can recognize the bottom floor of the cello case where all the sort of like, bureaucratic stuff really goes on. And this time there is indeed sound, and you can see Dawn is standing at the head of a little conglomeration of the rest of the council, and then a couple of other citizens of Ashaw. And it seems to be like there is a bit of a ceremony going on. You can see that the clothes are different. They're all a little bit nicer, a little bit finer. You can see nice fabrics. You can see they incorporate more like insect wings sort of into the outfits to make everything look shiny and like nice and delicate. It seems like there's a little bit of a ceremony going on. And you watch Dawn sort of turn, and Madameo holds out one of his paws to her, and she very tentatively shakes it. You can see there is a lack of confidence in her body movements. And she has her little shawl, and she kind of clutches it close to her chest as she pulls back from the handshake. Madameo turns to Ansel, who hands him a little scroll, which Madameo then takes and hands it to Dawn, who clutches it also to her chest, gives her a very pleasant smile, and says, in reverence to, I keep forgetting Madameo's voice, I'm sorry. He goes, in respects to the recent heroism that we have seen from you, Dawn, with the accident a few days earlier, and your quick thinking that allowed us to save one of our own members here, Rashah, as well as the powers that you have demonstrated being not only of your own accord, but being a much faster learner than anyone else could have even predicted. Especially myself, I am more than happy to grant you this position on the council here with us. And Dawn sort of looks back and forth between everyone else, the little curly-haired mouse, Ansel, Bailey, who doesn't look very amused. Even Ansel, you can see there's a bit of pride in his eyes, but none more so than Madameo, who is absolutely filled with just the most father-like glee that you've ever really seen. He is in full paternal mode here. And after a beat of Dawn sort of opening her mouth and then shutting it again, as though she doesn't really know exactly what to say, Madame reaches out and takes one of her paws and pulls her into a very tight hug. Okay. And you can hear him say, quietly, it's a whisper, and no one else was supposed to hear it, but since your little scrying eye is right next to Dawn, you can hear him go, I am so proud of you. I'm sorry that I doubted you.
Oh, we're gonna break his little heart. Oof. Oh dear.
And yeah.
Okay.
So that means
it slowly fades back out.
So that means that a few days prior was Reed's accident. Is there a date that's only a little bit before that one?
Yes.
Right. Maybe this one is the one that we want.
Yep. That's what.
Listening intently for Joelle ringing the bell.
Hoist.
All right. So you go to this next state, you throw in the proper slip, you throw in the proper ingredients that you have, and once again, this bubble rises up from the water and a scene begins to take place. You recognize the inside of Madameo's library. You can still see Dawn here, and she seems to be at a desk writing in a book. Green leather-bound cover. The camera is positioned just so that you can't exactly see what she is writing, but it looks as though she has the book sort of to her left, and then a little bit to the right there is a scroll that she seems to be copying from. And she looks back and forth between the book and then the scroll, and then she rolls up the scroll and she begins writing over what she had just written in the book. And then she sort of looks at it and she nods and she sets it. And then she reaches under the chair that she is sitting in and she takes a much thinner handmade, sort of crudely put together journal.
Like Reed's journal.
Just simple brown leather. And sets it, opens it to a page which already has writing in it. And then you see she takes the little pen and ink and she begins to mark over the glyphs that are already put down here.
That's it.
You hear very, very distantly, "Dawn, are you up there?" And her little ears perk up and she shuts the book and she puts it back underneath the chair. And she goes, just a minute. I'll be on my way down in a second.
That's it.
And that fades out as well.
Court Red Port.
That's the
Red
one.
Pod.
Red pod.
Red pod.
Joelle.
We.
You're still inside the council room, right? You're not waiting outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm still in, yeah.
Excellent. You sort of zoned out for a minute, which is, it's fine. Supremely boring. But you snap back to attention as Madameo gets to his feet, and he says, "Well, thank you everyone for coming today. It's been very informative, and hopefully we can all do the best that we can to protect ourselves from this incoming storm, and hopefully survive the flood that may or may not come with it. Well, Joelle, thank you for joining me. I guess we better meet up with your friends again now, shouldn't we?"
Yes, definitely. That sounds like a great idea. And Joe is like very clearly like, okay. And how is the room oriented? Is it like
it's just a round table with everyone sitting around it, and there's a door kind of to one side. You're closest to the door. I would imagine, since you were coming and going, you would want to not draw a whole bunch of attention to yourself.
Okay, so I'm going to go towards the door, open it, and as realistically as possible, trip super hard, like really, really hard, and like shake the bell and the sensor and all of my brooches and every jingly thing on my body. Like for the first time in this campaign, I am trying to like die. I'm trying to like all.
I mean, you are the expert.
I am the expert on pratfalls and taking 1 damage. So I want to do that and just be as dramatic as I can, and also make a lot of sound. Like that is the key point. Make as much sound as possible.
Make a performance check for me, please.
Performance. Okay, 16.
16. Okay.
This should be fine.
You make your way out of the door, and with a bit of a flourish of your robes, you step on the hem of your tunic, and you just full face to the ground, absolutely bodied. Slam. Everything on you starts jingling like a little pouch full of coins, and there is just the and then dead silence. as everyone kind of like looks at you and there's the awkward like, oh wow, he really bodied himself.
We're just like,
Because usually there's a little bit of like a trip and a stumble, and then everyone's like, oh, are you okay? But just full like yellow
was, like,
tape around his
one
body.
frame, the next frame, just
I'm gonna sing a
on the
song.
ground.
Move, bitch. Get out the way.
Literally that. Steps on it and it's just on the ground. And
Joelle is down. The first one to come to your aid is actually Dawn, who will offer a paw to help you to your feet. And she goes, "Are you okay? That seemed like quite a fall."
it's like, unfortunately, and he's now he's pouring on the melodrama for the added realism. But unfortunately, this is not the first unceremonious and near lethal tumble I've taken on this expedition. But you know, c'est la vie. These are the dangers, and he has a bell in his hand, and he's like, these are the dangers of like making as much noise as possible of being an adventurer. You know, these are the risks we must take. Just literally like emphasizing every motion and ringing this bell, and like there should be no excuse. You know. Just going on this long tangent, literally like a 4-minute long tangent. And everyone in the council was like, literally, shut up. And it's like,
you're like right in the doorway as well, so they can't like really pass you and leave.
No one can leave. And like, you know, these are the sacrifices. And you know, my censor, I don't know if you noticed, my censor, they have been lost to the toils of war previously. I start banging the bell and the censor together, and I'm like, but alas, he has returned from the clutches of the lethal. And it's just literally like this big, long, unnecessary.
Corum and Ayla, you definitely hear the commotion going on at this point.
Time to go.
Joelle, as Dawn kind of has one of her paws on your arm and is sort of starting to lead you away from the doorway so that everyone else can leave.
Continues talking, still talking the whole time.
Yep, and she sort of pats your arm gently with one of her paws, and she goes, well, it seems like you have had a bit of a harrowing time recently, especially with all of the help that you've had for us. How about we can go back to my place and I'll treat you to a nice cup of tea. How does that sound? And that's where we're going to end it for this episode.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. I mean, to be fair, at least I stole her strychnine. So if she tries to poison,
you did.
It'll just be a really rank cup of tea instead.
That is true.
God, can you imagine getting a cup of tea and it's just salt?
Better like salt than dead.
Than dead.
You know?
Well, thank you everyone out there for joining us this evening. We will see you for episode 7. And good, it is still June. I thought it was going to be July for some reason. June 26th. These months are going. June 26th, we will see you for episode 7 of Mousecapades, the penultimate episode. Can you believe? I can't.
I can't.
I
literally no.
Have been your game master. I am Joe. You can find me pretty much everywhere at The Cat in Charge. I do nothing. I do D&D, I do writing, I do sewing, I make a lot of memes. Come follow me on Twitter if you want some relatable content. We're gonna pass this over now to Ari. If you would please remind us of who you are, who you played, and where we can find you.
Hi, I am Ari. I play Joelle, the magnificent, the long-winded, the amazing. You can find me on Twitter at E06, where I'm not nearly as flamboyant and braggadocious, but equally awesome. You can find me on Twitter at the Frog Prince. On TikTok at the Frog Prince. And I also do nothing. I just say words that come into my brain. So, you know, if you like that, then you can check me out and check out these other cool dudes too.
Indeed. Rue, if you would please go next.
I'm Rue, and I play Ayla, who is your local somersaulting rogue. Um, and you can find me on Twitter as @IlanaKnight13, which is also my Twitch, and anywhere else as just Ilana Knight with no 13 at the end. And I do art commissions and sewing and a bit of writing.
All right. And Miranda.
I'm Miranda. I've been playing Quorum, your slowly going insane goat folk sorcerer. And you can find me on Twitter and everything else at mdebnam1. Also, Rue is being like reticent because they also do like star chart readings and tarot and stuff. And they did one for me and it was awesome. So go do that.
Thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
All right, and then the last couple of shout outs that we have to do are, first of all, for our layout designer, Ambrose, My Big Mood on Twitter, excellent graphic designer, singer, songwriter, artistic person all around, really great. You should go follow and support him and all the stuff that he does. Holly Hemlock, also on Twitter, she created these amazing character portraits that you see here, as well as all the portraits of the mice that you've been seeing. Both of them absolutely lovely friends of mine and people that you should go and support and just throw all of your money at because they're very talented and we could not look as pretty as we do without them. Big old thanks to Nova, our producer for this game, and most of our games as well. We literally just could not be here without her because I don't know how to do any of the things that she knows how to do, including plug charities, which is the last thing that we're going to cover here before we head off for the night. Here's That Limits is doing charity, is raising money for the LGBT Freedom Fund charity, which is something that pretty much goes to freeing people who have been wrongfully incarcerated, specifically people who are Black and transgender, as they are sort of being the most targeted with the Black Lives Matter protests that are going on recently. So if you can, please at least spread awareness, donate if you can. It is for a excellent cause, especially here. Now we are in June, it is Pride Month. So do what you can, give $5 to a gay person. They deserve it.
Mhm.
And we will see you guys on the 26th of June. Thank you so much and stay safe out there, everybody. Good night.
Bye.